Hey guys, and welcome back to A&J Education YouTube channel. In today's video, we're talking about Middle Eastern studies, and I'm very fortunate to be joined in the studio again by Georgia.
Hi.
Georgia.
Hi.
So if you're interested in the Middle East, Middle Eastern studies, keep watching, and this video is for you. All right, Georgia. So. Middle Eastern studies, I mean, previously was often called Oriental studies, but now many departments have, changed names to kind of update to a more accepted name. So, what is Middle Eastern studies?
So, in basic terms, Middle Eastern studies is the study of the Middle East. But obviously, the Middle East is quite a nebulous term. It's not clear what's included in the Middle East, what should be excluded, what should be included, and scholars have a lot of differing views. But my experience of Middle Eastern studies has been learning Arabic, learning about different scholarship about Islam, about the position of women, but also the position of men, about history, about literature, anything pertaining to the Middle East. And it's been really eye-opening to me to learn about different parts of the world, but also to understand why the study of the Middle East can be problematic and why scholars of the Middle East should always stay informed and kind of check their positionality on their study of the region.
Just a random question. Do you include North Africa in the Middle East?
Wow, that is a very interesting question. And scholars all differ in their opinion. So parts of North Africa are considered more Arab, more part of the Middle East, for example, Egypt. But then you have places like Algeria, Tunisia, Morocco that are definitely not thought of as part of the Middle East. They're very African, they're part of North Africa. And that's usually done based on dialect. So Arabic is different to some other languages in that it has the modern standard Arabic that you'll hear on the news and you'll read in newspapers and the language of the Quran. But then each region and each country will have its own dialect, which is important to learn because nobody actually speaks modern standard Arabic. So that's important to note. If you are planning to study Arabic at uni, you will probably be learning modern standard Arabic plus a dialect. But if you compare the dialects of Egypt with the dialect of Morocco, for example, they are so vastly different. And I speak Egyptian Arabic, but I couldn't even begin to understand somebody from Morocco and vice versa. And that's mostly due to historical colonial expansion. Morocco was colonized by France, so they've got a French influence. But yeah, that's kind of how people judge what is in the Middle East and what isn't. It's slightly based on dialect, but again, it's very ambiguous.
Interesting. So it's I didn't realize that basically it's not just one MSA Arabic, but you need to learn each regional. So is it that bad that that two separate languages, Egyptian Arabic and Moroccan Arabic?
Well, I, as a non-native speaker of Arabic, and I'm still learning, to me, they are two completely different languages, but I'm sure to somebody who is Moroccan, they might know a bit of Egyptian and they might understand it. Same with other Levantine dialects, they might be able to understand, but it is regarded as very different. They've got different words for things. It's a different accent. I'm not sure about different grammatical structure, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did have different syntaxes and things like that.
Well, Georgia, just moving back to the university application space, Middle Eastern studies or Arabic, they're not often subjects that you find in your average school, on your average school curriculum. I'm sure maybe a few schools have, some courses, but generally speaking, normal school wouldn't have them. So how can you, as an applicant, write a personal statement when you're not taught this stuff at school?
So that is a good question. And when I was writing my personal statement, I did find it tricky because I started Arabic from scratch at uni. I didn't really have any knowledge of it. And it's very difficult to toe that line between I'm really interested in the Middle East versus I find the Middle East very exotic and interesting and different from my culture. So what I would encourage applicants to do is really think about their position to the Middle East and to think about how does my lived experience in my life, how will it affect my view of the Middle East? And really, that could be something to discuss in a personal statement because it shows, perception and awareness. But a key text to look at when applying for Middle Eastern studies that will impress any admissions team is Orientalism by Edward Said. Now, this is not the only text on Orientalism, and there's been some criticism of it, but it is regarded as the seminal work that any Middle Eastern studies student will cover during their degree. And it's a theory put forward by Edward Said that discusses the problematic perceptions of the Middle East from people in the West. And it's really interesting. If you just read the introduction, that kind of encapsulates the whole argument, and it's not too long. But it's definitely something to consider when writing your personal statement. But I would say find something that interests you, find a news article, find a piece of literature, find an important figure from history, and write about them in your personal statement. Don't write about ambiguous things or vague things. Find a niche that you're really passionate about.
So go down a rabbit hole is what you're saying.
Yeah, like go down a little rabbit hole, look on the internet, think of a poem that you love in English, then look up poems in similar themes that were written in Arabic, and you'll just go on and on and on, and you'll find something that really interests you. So then your personal statement can be really detailed and really personal and show that you've put that work in to impress that admissions team and show them why you're the right candidate for the course.
Cool. And so what it sounds like, it's not necessarily a problem that you don't have access to these subjects. You can find resources online, podcasts, cheap books on Amazon, secondhand books on Amazon, online courses. But then it's about how you analyze. So how you present not a necessarily simplistic Western view of the Middle East, but you can, present multiple sides of the argument and analyze how your view has evolved and what has influenced the Western view of the Middle East.
Yeah, and it definitely takes practice. At the beginning, I'm sure if I looked back on some of my first year essays, I'd be really embarrassed at some of the things that I wrote. But it's about presenting a view that's not essentializing the Middle East as one homogenous, one big space that's all the same, where all the countries in the Middle East have the same culture and the same language, and they eat the same foods and they have the same opinions. To try and think region to region and find those individualisms and find the uniqueness in every single region, and to stop yourself viewing the Middle East as just one space. I think that's the key to it, really.
Got it. Great. Well, Georgia, this was really insightful. Guys, I'm sure you would agree with me. So if you're thinking of applying to Middle Eastern studies, please think carefully about how you position yourself, the analysis you give. Do your online research. There is a ton of stuff online that you can find for free. Some secondhand books on Amazon for relatively not that much. Online courses, all useful resources. And don't be afraid to go down a rabbit hole. So rather than, my understanding is rather than write about the subject generally, pick a very niche topic and explore it. Talk about your interest, and you'll have a decent shot. So, Georgia, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much for this. Guys, all the best. Please like this video. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel. We spend a lot of time on camera and behind the camera making these videos accessible to you. So please do support us. And that's bye-bye from us, and all the best to you.